This is basically some of the equipment that we use. One of the most important things is the digital camera. You can use it in different modes, different settings to keep your aperture open. Play around with it, definitely a lot. You can get some interesting results. Always have some kind of control picture, control camera, that way you can rule out anything that could be a technical issue with the camera. This is called a K2 meter. It measures electromagnetic fields. We use this tool to help communicate with spirits. It enables us to ask them a question and they can come closer to manipulate the light field to answer us yes or no. We can have them turn on 2 or 3 lights to answer yes or whatever. The theory behind it is a spirit produces or affects the electromagnetic field by having a cold spot or a hot spot, and that enables us to detect something there. That is a K2 meter. There's many different varieties of electromagnetic field detector. This is another one. This is a cell sensor. It has an external probe that you can place other locations, and it also has an audible tone that you can detect in case something comes into your area. Another important thing is a temperature gun. It allows us to detect temperature inside an area, so we can get an ambient temperature of the location, and we can also use this to measure cold spots or hot spots, and also ask something to lower a temperature or raise a temperature, whatever we want, to try to get intelligent responses.
Come on over, I'll get in your way for a minute. This is one that I use quite often. I'll just call it a sonic ear. For all I know, that might be what it's really called. It's just an amplifier. You'll turn this on right on the side, put these in your ears, and it just turns the volume down on everything you don't want to hear, turns the volume up on the things that some people think you really can't hear. During investigations, I'll frequently just be sitting around with these in. I think these are quite excellent. For a couple dollars, it's amazing what you can accomplish with these. These are 2 different black lights. This one is just one that we pop on a cap. This one is one that I usually use in my hand, but it does have the same clip. I'll turn those off because I can imagine how awful they look in the camera. There's a lot of different theories on black light. I like to use it to trace an energy signature. Just sort of like it would be used in a typical, almost police-like evidentiary way. It's similar to why we use them. We've got quite a few different versions of these, including one that we aptly named as the Day Star that could, blank out the sun. But we've actually put, Greg actually installed blacklight bulbs in it. Quite powerful, and we enjoy using it. This is a little bit of the old school. We have quite a few of them. Sometimes we use them, sometimes we don't. But you don't really know a whole lot about ghost hunting or the field of it if you don't know what a dowsing rod is. These have been used for a long time, from finding water to making spirits come through. The theory is that you can have them, spin to get an answer, go right to get an answer, go left. But again, it's theory. Some people think that they work. Some people think that they're a joke. But we use them, and we have them. Analog recorder. I mentioned before that I like to use digital and analog, as you can see. Quite a few different digital recorders. And analog just means it uses cassette. I'm not quite sure why I'm so addicted to using these, but it's just something, I don't know. I feel that the ink ribbons on these are a little more sensitive sometimes. I don't see myself stopping using them anytime soon. I got a lot of faith in this little guy. Been with me for quite some time. I'll show you one more. Now this steps away from the science and goes a little more into the other school of thought. This is white sage. We use a mother of pearl basin. White sage has been used by a lot of different cultures for a lot of different things. We use it, or at least I use it, as a ghost pheromone. People will use this in blessing homes. People will use this to wake a ghost up. People will use this to get a spirit's attention. For the most part, we use this in almost any location that we're at. Even if we don't, it'll always be with us. You never know when it's good to have some around. Step aside. Greg, you want to come back in for a minute?
Some more of the technical things that we use. This is a homemade version. You can buy many different versions on the internet. This is called an electromagnetic pump. It basically has a small DC motor with a rare earth magnet attached to it. AA power source. You may be able to hear it or not. It creates a low-level EMF field. We have two different ones. Batteries are low. The theory behind it is you set this out prior to doing an EVP session. You turn it on and it'll create a low-level EMF field that will allow a spirit to use to communicate with us, to talk with us, or to come across on the EVP or manifest itself. Other ways we get it to communicate with us is this little motion light. It's about $6. You can get it at any local hardware store. They range for different purposes, different colors. The basic purpose is it has this little motion detector. You can turn it on and ask an entity or a spirit to come close to it to turn it on and keep it on for yes, or leave it off for no. You can play with it different ways and try to get communication and direct responses with things. One of the best ways to get a direct response is this little baby. This is a controversial device. A lot of people believe in it, a lot of people don't. Its predecessor goes all the way back to the telephone to the dead, the Frank's box, the Spirit Com. A lot of many predecessors that brought it to this little level, which basically it has an AM and FM band that it sweeps through, approximately a channel every quarter of a second. So by the time you hear a response, you're hearing 6 or 7 radio stations being crossed to get a single word through. Let's power up and give us a little example. With this, you can adjust the sweep rate. You can do it fast or forward to sweep through the radio frequencies. You can adjust this if you want more signal, or you can even take that out to have more of a static effect to come through. But basically, you can ask questions. If there is anyone here or anything of that nature, ask them their name, and using the radio garble, it can communicate with you and put that together to talk back with you. Some people think it's more of like a digital version of a Ouija board. It's up to you on how you feel about it. A lot of people always claim that they hear bumps in the night, hearing knocking on wood, you can hear footsteps. This little device is a simple little vibration detector. You can turn it on. Once you put it at a position, you can leave it stationary, and you can ask for it to give you a sign to knock on a table or to pick up the footsteps that are claimed, and it'll make usually a very piercing alarm. This you can place throughout the location and leave it stationary, and if something is to set it off, you can go search for activity in that area. One of the other digital cameras that we use, this is a full spectrum camera. In conjunction with this, is a light emitter, a booster for the full spectrum. This produces light in different spectrums: ultraviolet, UV, ultraviolet, infrared, and allows this camera to pick up that light much easier. Some people believe that spirits are formed or seen in a different light spectrum than what we can see. So this device kind of lets us help take photos or video in that spectrum to see if anything is there. One of the last and final things that we have is a DVR. In combination with cameras that's connected to it, you can set it up throughout your location, try to capture anything moving while you're not there. Anything could come across the camera that you could have evidence when you're not there.
Two more things we like to bring up before we're all wrapped up here. The first being, Greg, why don't you come over here for a second? This is a toy made by Parker Brothers. Maybe I'm not allowed to say Parker Brothers, so I won't say Parker Brothers. They had no right to make this. It's not a toy. Greg, what would you tell people to do if they thought that they were going to use one of these?
Definitely never use one.
I think we both feel quite the same. People, if you think you're going to use one of these, you're going to a party to use one, you know somebody that used one, you're thinking about using one, anything of that sort, don't. You don't know how to use it. You don't know how to control it. You don't know anybody that knows how to control it. It's not a toy. Should have never been made into a toy. Stop thinking that these are okay to use. They're dangerous. Don't. I think I could put that a whole lot clearer.
Just like Dare, don't use Ouija.
The last and, well, at least the final thing we'll talk about with the things that we use is yourself. You hear a lot of people say that they're psychics or sensitive or that they know when there's ghosts around. Well, most of them are wrong. Some people don't like it when I say that. There are people out there that are sensitive or variations of what some people call psychic. But most that talk about it aren't. You can be your own judge on who is and who isn't. But just know that there are people that are and there are people that aren't. Not everybody's meant to. A lot of things that we do, a lot of the things that Greg and I have seen and experienced are of a personal nature, and they're meant to stay that way. A lot of things don't want to be trapped on a camera or in a picture. A lot of things can't be proven. A lot of this is chalked up to personal experience. Always been that way, it'll probably always stay that way. We use a lot of different tools, scientific to religious based. Sometimes things just won't come through in anything that, in any form that you can prove to others. That's about all I have to say.